Max, how you doing?
Hey, man. What's happening?
Well, you know what? We have a very special guest on, what is this, episode 11?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think she's a very special guest. I have no idea what episode it is.
It's 11. We're moving right along, man.
Yeah.
You know, we got 11, and then I can only assume there'll be 12.
No, this is it.
Oh, all right. Well,
I'm so done with this.
It's been a blast.
farce.
Thank you for all 3 listeners tuning in, and we appreciate all your
Hey, at least
patronage.
I'm the one telling people about it, which will tie in gorgeously to this show.
Well, I have a lot of questions, and I need, I don't know, what do I need? I need motivation and inspiration to come into the 21st century. But first thing we have to do,
Yes.
we have to introduce our guest.
Of
I'm going to
course.
leave it to you.
Thank you. Her name is Melanee Dark. And what's crazy is I'm kind of disappointed because she's really full of light. There's very little darkness.
Okay.
Like, the more I've gotten to know Melanee, and I love her brain, and I love her voice, and I think she's sexy and hilarious, and very smart. The problem is she's a real kind of lovey, lefty, soft kind of hippy-dippy chick. And
It's true.
That's not what I was picking up on at first. I'm like, oh, this chick's edgy, and she's funky and fierce. But now it's like, oh, my God, really? You love people that much? It's a little disappointing.
But that's actually the great dichotomy.
Yeah.
She's dark on the outside, but light on the inside.
Yeah, I love her name and her eyes and everything. But here's the thing.
She's like an Eskimo pie in a way.
She is. She's a social media strategist, and I have no idea what that means, but I think I know what it means. And another thing is, she lives in Santa Monica, where you live, and she only lives a few miles away from you.
How great is that?
How great is that, you Santa Monica fuckers? I'm the one that was stuck in a goddamn parking lot all the way from North Hollywood. So,
But you're here.
yes, and you are a monumental pain in the ass when it comes to
Yeah.
Facebook. And see,
Right.
it's like I take it personally that you say you love me, you say you care, you say you're in, but you don't care enough to like go look at my shit. And I feel like my shit is kind of like an expression of myself. And you're asking me to come out to gigs. I ain't asking you to do that. I'm not even asking. I'm just saying all you have to do is open the internet. But you won't do it. And you have this weird aversion and this weird broken idea of what it's about. You're in a band. You need to be doing this stuff. You cannot count on your lead singer to just do it all because she's lovely. Little bit of a cuckoo pants. Other people need to be helping getting the word out on your stuff. And I thought Melanee would be perfect to help you out with that sort of thing.
Well, number 1, I think you're right, but number 2, we got to make it official. Melanee, welcome to Magazine.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Now, Melanee, I've been told you're a social media queen, you're an expert, and I have to, I guess, plead my case.
Okay. Yes, I've heard.
So, Max and I are
heard his
completely,
side.
Prompted her.
we're polar opposites. Social media happened, what, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Yeah, give or take,
I
10.
guess the first thing was
We really started on
MySpace
it,
and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I'm a really private person, and I did not jump on that bandwagon. I have to ask you, even just personally, when that first came out, did you think, wow, this is just fucking great. I can now tell people the hamburger that I ate, and I can tell them
See,
I'm now
that's
at
what
the
he
movie,
thinks it's all about.
and I
Sure.
can now tell them, here's my dog, and here's my cat, and I just farted, and,
I don't think I've ever posted a fart, so
Okay.
I mean I'm behind on
I'm
that.
disappointed by that.
Yeah, well, maybe that
Yeah.
could be something in the future, But the point is, did you think it was the best thing ever when it first came out?
Totally.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was an early adopter. I had a totally different career. So when it came along, I fell head over heels pretty quick for it, not even knowing that it would eventually be what I did for a living. I just,
right.
on a personal level, was all in, and especially with MySpace, because MySpace was it was highly customizable on your own. You could change the code
Right.
and change the look and feel of. So I taught myself code.
Oh,
in
you
order-
You know how to change code?
Yeah,
Wow,
I mean,
that-
to a limited degree. Pretty soon, people started to build sort of generators, code generators, so that you could embed music and have, a scrolling welcome message, and so you really didn't have to learn to do the work yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But before I got on board before that, so I would stay up all night long and teach myself how to do it. So
Oh,
that
that's
I
very
could
cool.
Customize it.
What did you do beforehand where, social media made you change your mind?
I was a post-production supervisor in episodic television.
Oh, my God. Wow. I mean, you would think that could be a long-standing career in itself.
Indeed, and I loved it. I didn't even leave it because of anything other than just really loving this and feeling like it was a better fit for me. I'm a sort of an ambivert. I am really socially equipped, but long for time by myself. Social media is sort of the beautiful blend of those things because you can connect as you please and to the degree that you please, but you can also log off and not necessarily be connecting. So,
well, educate me. Ooh, hear that?
Yeah, birds.
See,
feel
the
like it's a
birds.
blessing.
It is a blessing. The birds are actually blessing this podcast.
it's Twitter.
That's perfect.
And phones, birds and phones.
Melanee is such a
That's Mark Zuckerberg.
social media queen. She
Yeah.
brings her own birds when
I
she
know.
twitters.
She's like Snow White.
That is fantastic.
Isn't that the one? Yes. And I made jokes about because she has relationships. I mean, we're derailing, but she's into squirrels and hummingbirds and all the nature around her, like I am. And she'll post like her morning breakfast with her squirrel.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. And it's like you're like those Disney princesses who
That's right.
have all the animals coming in because she opens her doors and windows and they
And
come
they come
right
in.
in.
Yeah.
Are,
They
are
come
the,
inside.
are the birds chirping, let's say 5 feet from your head as you're walking down the street? Are they following you?
In a circle.
You know, and then maybe if you do have a dark day, the crows are pooping on you actually to say,
Oh,
hey,
no.
this is a negative thought, Melanee. That kind of thing.
Max will attest to that. I don't have a ton of negative
No,
stuff.
no.
Okay, wow.
Very
Well,
positive person.
I need you. Maybe
Yes.
I'm not trying to make this whole episode about me, but I am going to make some of it about me.
It's fine.
I need, maybe I need to come to the dark side. You need to educate me about social media. I'm not on anything. I have nothing. Purposely, zero. Don't do anything. I don't care what hamburger you had. I don't care.
Why
what
does he
concert
keep
you go
saying
to.
that?
Because
It's like-
I
Because
see,
he's not
I
on.
see a million hamburgers. I really
No,
do.
you don't.
How
You
could
just said
you?
you're not on, so how can you see a million
Oh,
hamburgers?
no, I'm not saying I'm not on myself. Do I ever go and see what people are posting now and then? Of course I do. I don't live in a
So
bubble.
you lurk. That's
Yeah,
called lurking.
I do
Okay.
lurk.
Oh,
Okay.
she's good.
See, this is why I need you. We have this podcast. It's just beginning. It's episode 7. We have no social media.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I guess it's time, huh? I
Yeah.
guess we should jump in.
Well-
But tell me why and tell me what we should do or maybe what other people listening might do if they have something that they want to promote.
Sure.
I don't. It's like I'm going to be thrown into the water and someone's going to say swim. I don't know how to swim.
And this is good for him because, contrary to what he believes, this is his show. This isn't my show. I
That-
co-host it, whatever, but this is his show.
This is an ongoing
Because if
argument.
it was my show, it would not be called Magazine. So, as a social media strategist, would you call what does this title mean to you?
I wasn't sure.
Thank you.
So, I mean, it's not misleading, but I wasn't exactly sure then. It didn't really speak
What's
to
the
me in
hook?
terms of.
How are we going to compete with 50,000 other podcasts? How are we any more or less interesting? And especially with the title Magazine.
Well, I would say, setting the title aside, not being on social media, not having any social media plan in a world where everyone, all the ones that are succeeding do, you already put yourself behind the 8 ball and set yourself back in a way that you don't need to
Behind the
do.
8 ball.
It's free to be on social media. It's not free to leverage the advertising that's within it, and that's very
Right.
cheap, and that has a high amount of return on a low amount of investment. But just to be there and be leveraging all of the organic ways to draw in an audience, to present your content, to get that shared organically through friends and connections and through search engine optimization, which is like using the particular keywords and phrases that people might be talking about. So, for instance, this episode is about social media. So that would be hopefully somewhere in the title or somewhere in the body of the description. And if you had a Facebook page and you created a post about it, it would also have that. And people are scraping the internet all of the time in just basic searches. And then your podcast would come up in their results inadvertently, you know.
So if we were to call this episode Social Media Strategist Melanee Dark, would that be good?
Sure, you want something a little bit more clever, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not very clever.
Would
Yeah.
you be clever for once?
I'm a copywriter. I can help you with that.
See? She's indispensable.
He is. He's going to be our consultant now forever.
That's right. Exactly.
But what do you think when he says things like, I see a hamburger? Like, he thinks it's always people posting food.
Well, sure. He's not alone.
You know, I'm not saying it's only 98% of people posting a bunch of crap about
That's
what
fake
they
news.
what they did every single second of the day. You know. Well, the reason why I didn't get into it, and I didn't have anything public like something like this podcast, but I just wanted to live my life, not post my life.
He's an extreme narcissist also, so it kind of has a lot to do with that. Like he's really all about him. Like he'll go out and have it be about others a little bit, but really it's.
If I was a narcissist, I'd be posting my life saying, "Look at me,"
That is true.
Actually, I don't do that.
He's right.
Yeah.
Well, it just depends. If you were
He's a private narcissist.
Yeah. If you were a narcissist who's up to no good, you wouldn't post.
Can I make a Facebook page where it's only about me and only I can access it? So then I can just see my own post?
And nobody else And nobody else could?
And nobody else could.
Certainly.
That's a true narcissist.
Yes, there you go, where you're just looking
Okay.
at yourself.
Yeah.
You're just looking for attention.
That's right. For me. And I
Right.
can actually do it while looking in the mirror.
Right. Video coverage.
But part of this also is, besides just posting what is happening, it's an engagement.
Absolutely.
You want to engage with your fans.
Yes.
You want to have dialogue back and forth. And that's, I'm assuming, an everyday thing.
Well, and especially for a podcast where you guys platform topics and conversations that are hopefully and ostensibly relatable and interesting to an audience. And in this day and age, most brands, organizations, individuals, influencers, stars, celebrities, everybody has some level of conversation going on with their fan base. It's no longer, the fourth wall has been broken in that way. So, especially when you have brands, favorite organizations, et cetera, that are doing it, you tend to gravitate towards them because you feel part of it. It feels sort of crowdsourced. It feels like you're in it with them. I'll give you an example. I love Ricky Gervais. I think he's really funny. He leverages Facebook Live better than anybody I've seen. And all he does is put the camera on his cat. And
that's great.
And I've watched steadily, and he talks behind the camera, but even though it's him and people are interested in him, he rarely shows himself. And he just sort of mocks his cat and talks to his cat, and then inadvertently talks about stuff that's going on with his tour or the Emmys, and then very wisely will look at the comments and start talking directly to the people who are commenting. He'll give shout outs by name. Hey, Max Koch, good to see you. Or he'll make fun of the name, or he'll make some sort of funny joke. Really smart. And I've watched over time, he does not lose viewership. It only grows.
Really?
So even though that seems very mundane, what people long for from a fan perspective is connection, being a part of it, and feeling like, oh, I got my moment, sort of, and I'm here. This is the now, and I'm engaged with
So
it.
if we do the Magazine Podcast Facebook page, would it be really intriguing if I did Facebook Live but talked behind Max?
My corpse. Just have my corpse
I'll
there.
just talk, and Max can either mouth the words, look stupid, or be creative, and no one will see my face, and he'll be my cat.
You could actually do the podcast where the camera is faced away from you and at Max, where people still hear you.
Yeah.
And then you'd actually see comments so that you could throw them out there and then engage back and forth based on the comments or the questions
So
that you
that
were
would be
getting
more
live.
of a video, a vodcast, I guess.
Sure. I mean, you could be recording at the same time, and then you'd literally have versions of the same content, which is also best case scenario to be
Best
versioned
case
out.
scenario. Do we want a best case scenario?
Of course. Who doesn't?
I guess so.
Who doesn't want
that
best case scenario?
I guess we do. Well, maybe we could film ourselves in the future. I'll just record the audio for now. But the first step is, I guess we could say it. Should we decide to do it? Are we going to have a Magazine Podcast Facebook page?
You're asking me?
We're in this together.
But this is good for you.
You are my partner in this.
I understand, but this is good for you.
I guess.
To create this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is. Let me ask you, and I don't want you to feel like you're being persecuted. And I'm joking with the narcissist. Well, he's very spoiled and very into himself. Let's just say that. But I'm jesting. But okay, so like for my crap, I've always been very intrigued because I was thinking about you and like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? I go down certain roads where I kind of freak out and like, oh shit, I wish I could go further with that, but I can't, and I kill it.
What are we talking? Are we talking about Facebook
Post.
specifically?
Yeah, let's just target that.
Sure.
Because I don't know if you look at my Instagram, but I have actually much more fun on Instagram than I do on Facebook.
Sure. Yeah.
But in your opinion, what am I doing right and what am I doing wrong?
Oh gosh, I mean, I would say there's a lot you're doing right. You're posting consistently. You post organically. You're yourself. You're not really, even if there's some element of act to it, you're not. It's not so much that it feels.
Does it get annoying from your perspective, like in a thread, like, oh God, him again?
Never. No.
Okay.
No. In fact, being yourself and being transparent is key. Like not actually judging yourself on that way, because you're going to pull a crowd that makes sense to you, that for whom you make sense to them.
Yeah.
And if you're crafting it if you're in your head about like, what's the best exactly way to do it, you'll actually screw up eventually, and then you'll start losing the people you brought in. So you might as well just be yourself and operate naturally, and then pull in a crowd that resonates for them. So I never think, actually. In fact, sometimes I think, where is he? He hasn't posted anything.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done like a video, or like your commentary with Lana Del Rey in the background is some of my favorite.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah. And he's never seen one of them because he doesn't give a shit, because it's all about him.
See, now that's where you go wrong. So you have to post without needing the validation that comes.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but let's reverse that. When
Sure.
you're into Max, and when you get into other people, I'm not saying you need it, but you miss it when he doesn't do it.
Sure. I mean,
you get a little hooked.
I wouldn't say hooked. I would say I notice the content, and I like it, so I'm used to it
It's a
coming
little
along.
bit of an itch. You need to scratch now and then a little bit.
I mean, I think that's maybe hyperbolic. I think
Okay.
it's just an enjoyable thing. It's,
Okay.
if the hummingbird stopped coming around, I would be like, where's that hummingbird? But then I'd just go on with my life.
All right.
So it's really just about the habitualization, I think, to some degree, of you get used to a way that people behave, and when you notice when it stops or changes, you're like, where'd they go? Listen, I can tell you when my friends are getting divorced. I can tell you when they're going through issues. People's behavior online also follows very similar patterns depending on what's going on in their lives. Because just like online, as in life, we are who we are. We behave the way we behave. So you start to see those norms and patterns online in the same way that you see it in a person.
And the best thing to do, like you just said, is just be yourself. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to be all that. Just be you. They either like you or they don't.
Right.
Okay.
Which is why, we can point at Max's post today. So he came from a concert, and he had a litany of things that people are no longer allowed to do
At concerts.
Right.
I'm going to
At
read this
concerts.
to you.
Right, we're going to get to that, because
Yeah.
there's going to be a musical part of this.
Yes.
Because we know obviously music is a big part of social media, but also we're really into music, especially old 80s stuff and older stuff. But we're going to get to that. But I got a question for you.
Sure.
Like what you're telling us, all this advice, and you're giving us all your wisdom. Is this actually what you do?
This is what I do for a living.
You walk into a company that maybe is kind of not really their social media. You sit down and say, guys, you got to do X, Y, and Z.
I don't do that at first. I sit down and say, tell me what your goals are. Tell me what it is that you need, and what you're looking to achieve, what you hope for, and then now I can give you some advice on how you can do that and which channels to best achieve those on, because all the channels are different. If you're not really steeped in it, they seem like they're just different versions of the same thing, but really the audiences are different, the expectations are different in each channel, so you got to make sure that what you need and the kind of content you would push to get what you need lines up with the right channel, the right location for it.
Now, have you seen where companies are at one level, even whether it's property, profit, or they want more, customers or whatever? You come in, you give your advice, and then you see them explode.
Depends. Advice is still advice, whether they've paid me for it or not. The truth is that social media is more difficult than it used to be from a user perspective. So there's just so much more available in terms of advertising, and there's a lot more rules. What used to be possible is no longer possible. It used to be possible to have a lot of organic growth. Not really possible anymore. At least wise not really in Twitter or Facebook. You really have to pay your way toward an audience, a targeted audience. Again, like I said, it's not expensive. Facebook's really smart. They give you a lot for a very little bit. Like as a real life example, I'll say I designed a post on Instagram and Facebook meant to amplify an event we were having. I paid $50 and it was seen by like 12,000 people for $50.
That's great.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's as long as you're targeting well.
So that's the sponsored thing.
Yeah.
When you're in your
exactly.
Yeah.
And you can do things like, for instance, if it's about your music, you can tell Facebook, I only want to show this video of this clip of our last show, and which also announces our next show. Let's say. So I want to advertise our music, and the next time someone would be able to come see it. You can tell them, I only want you to show people in the Santa Monica or greater LA Basin area, since that's more likely people who'd get in their car and come. And I want you to show it to people who've indicated either through phrase use or like buttons that they like this kind of music, that they're into jazz, or they're into, or they like the venue. So you can say, I want to show this to all the people that have liked the page for the venue.
Wow.
So you can basically just set yourself up for success as well by saying, I'm going to be there. I'm going to show it to people in that region who've already expressed a deep interest in the things that would make them more likely to want to come.
So it's all pinpointing, and it's
Pinpointing. Very targeted.
Targeted,
Yeah.
pinpointing.
Yep.
Wow.
And it goes really, really deep. I work for a national nonprofit, and I can say, please, I want to show this post to people who Facebook knows have already been participating in health-related charitable giving online. So if I'm asking people to give, I basically target an audience that's already proven to Facebook that that's a part of their natural behavior while online. So I don't have to just sort of cast a wide net like a newspaper ad, let's say, or a radio ad and hope that it lands on the right ears or the right eyes in this case. I can actually put it right in front of the right people.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many years did it take you to learn all this shit?
Oh gosh, I mean, they change it constantly. I mean, you might not know this from not being on it. You might, but they are constantly perfecting the channels and changing the channels to optimize these sorts of things. So I am always learning because they're reconfiguring how it works.
So you have to daily see what the changes are.
Daily.
Wow.
And it used to be though that you had to notice because they actually didn't used to be transparent. Because they're competing against those other channels. So, like, Facebook isn't going to openly say that
we made a change today.
Right. Because they don't want to, tip off Twitter or whomever. So you used to have to just, because I was so deep in it, I could notice, wait a minute, this is a change. Like, for instance, before ads came along, I knew about how many people liked our posts and had seen our posts, because I see that from the back end. All of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, that number went in half. Pretty regularly, and I thought, what's happening? I haven't changed when I post, I haven't changed what I post about, but I've seen my audience drop, the engagement and the reach by 50%. That's so weird. Started going even lower, and then they launched ads.
Oh.
And what they're doing is like taking away what they were giving you for free, dialing it back, and now saying you can have 25% of that for free.
Right.
You want more than that,
Right.
you've got to pay.
Right. Without telling you.
They used to not tell you.
Yeah,
now they do. Now
Okay.
they're really transparent. Facebook actually has a module called Blueprint where they will train you for free how to use the thing
Really?
from front to back. Yeah, absolutely. And when it changes, they'll let you know. So I get notified and it says, listen, you need to go back and redo these trainings because
Right.
we've changed those modules. Yeah.
Mac, I got a question. Obviously, I think we're going to end up
Did
doing...
you call me Mark?
No.
Mock? Didn't you hear Mock?
I said
I didn't.
Max.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah. Well, yeah, go ahead.
you're spacing out. We do
I'm fully engaged.
we do the magazine podcast Facebook page.
Yeah.
You going to help me with this? Is this all on me? Or are you going to do this with me?
I think you should start it and give me the, what is it, like a password?
You just be added as an admin. There's no password.
well, just-
Add me as an admin.
You're an admin.
And then I can help with the content and sharing and all that.
Yeah.
you would be a natural for engagement because
Yeah.
you would not be able to.
We would do this together. I mean, not. I know that
No,
we should do
I
this,
wouldn't leave you in the dark.
but I thought I wouldn't.
Don't be scared. Hey,
Well, we have the dark here,
Yes.
but this dark is my kind of dark.
let me ask you something as I point to you.
Sir.
Is your plate full as far as clients? Because did you see the ad that NASA is looking for a social media
Really?
person? And you just posted something about NASA recently, I thought.
You'd be awesome at NASA.
I'm a big fan of NASA. NASA's actually highly controlled, so that would be hard for me because I'm a pretty organic social
right.
media person. I like to.
You yourself, you always put out such a variety. It's so interesting. Sometimes she'll get a little political.
Yeah.
Or a lot political.
Yeah.
A lot political. But then I saw, it was very interesting. You were going back and forth with I read that whole little internet fight. Not a
Which
fight.
one? There's a
Some
few.
conservative asshole or a friend of yours. But it's like, was he really someone in your life, or is it someone that just...
I grew up in a really, really red town here in California.
Right.
So most of my high school, elementary school
Take
base,
you on about your
Sure, they're really
liberalism.
conservative. If I get unfollowed on Facebook, it's almost always a high school friend.
Are you from LA proper?
I'm from out in the Inland Empire.
Inland Empire.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's not-
it
yeah.
happens from time to time
Yes.
where they want to take me on.
Yeah.
I don't, it just depends on who the person is. A lot of times, that's not true. Not a lot of times, most of the time, all the time. I actually almost never argue as a way to convince that person, but it's a public platform. So if somebody comes to me and in a comment says something that is so far afield, I feel like it's really my responsibility to make sure that I set it straight in the
Right.
comments, because other people are going to see this and read it.
Right. See, it's interesting because I was like, wow, she's not that you were scaring me a little bit, but like, I was like, I don't know that I want to, because we've had a very nice, I don't know if I want to get in a fight with her because you were really letting that dude have it.
If I know what I'm talking about, I'll go in.
When you are in relationships.
But I'm not rude.
No, you're very
never rude.
respectful.
So you're tactful, but you're aggressive.
I'm tactful. I never raise my tone.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
all like how to win friends and influence
Yeah.
others. I think it's
Okay.
really a bad habit to be just fighting and dismissive. I
Right.
think it's really
You're not
important.
coming from a place of anger,
It's
but
not
you're
gonna
coming
work
from
anyway.
a place of just trying to state your point.
Right. It's like, I'm not going to win you over, but there are people in the center who are reading this, and I would like them to see something sort of cogent and reasoned
Yeah.
sitting there that doesn't sound smug or, listen, I'm
Or
a liberal,
accusatory.
and I have a lot of liberal friends who I think don't do us any favors when they're arguing online. And so
Right.
I try really hard to always be an adult and to do it from a point of view where if I were somebody in the center and I didn't know which way to lean, this might have influence on me. And
Oh,
so,
some of the lefties in my camp, they make me so crazy. They make me so crazy.
I say, please don't help me. Please don't help.
But if you have a lot of fans, as you do, Max, and let's say a lot of them start arguing with something you've said, you don't take on every argument. You can't.
No,
can't.
no,
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 you can't.
It's so funny too about the fans thing, because I mean, I had a huge viral explosion happen, 10 years ago on YouTube, but it's maintained some steady consistency. Numbers continue to go up, but it's not extraordinary. But no, I do feel it's, for me, the fans, it's more like this weird little, I don't want to like blast my own horn, but it's like this weird little cult of freak shows that kind of pop out whenever I see. I'm like, I can always count on the usual suspects. And I'm talking about the bottom of the heaps. I'm not talking about, like, I get so excited when you comment on my crap because it's always hilarious and awesome. But some do, and I'm like, oh, here she comes. And then I get comedy collaborators, like, evidently my post wasn't good enough, so they got to, like, try to top it or say you should have said this or say.
That's right.
But the one thing I do that I've noticed no one else does, and I think it's a total waste of time, and I want to know if it is or not. This whole birthday thing on Facebook. It's your birthday. You have the choice. You can let people know when your birthday is, or you keep it quiet. But I just say, I mean, I can't help it. My birthday's out there anyway with my work. So you'll get a ton of people commenting on your birthday. Most people just go, hey, everyone, thanks so much for the birthday greetings. I really appreciate it. I go through
Me too. Of course I do.
I individually thank
Wow.
each
Of
and
course.
every person who, and I don't just say thank you.
Right.
I try to point out one little thing if I remember. Hey, I hope your dog's
Amen.
okay.
Right.
Hey, I hope your kid's nose is back. I
Right.
hope you're having sex again. Whatever.
Yeah.
If they bitched about something or
Right.
said
Right.
something
To
terrible,
make it a little special for them.
I try to make it construct it just for them to
Well,
make
that's a
them,
very, compassionate thing that you're doing.
It's connection instead
Right.
of just phoning it in.
yeah.
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 It takes a second. It's not a big deal, but it actually makes all the difference. And it's virally the best practice. So
Yeah.
keep in mind every single time that you say, thanks, Melanee, like, that's awesome, whatever, that regenerates a notification to mutual friends
Right.
who might have missed it the first time and then go, oh, it's Max's birthday.
Right.
So
It's a
that's
reminder of
actually,
something.
it's virally best practice. So
Yeah,
Wow.
I posted about Michael Keaton 4 years ago, and she thought it was a recent one. I was
Oh,
like,
my God.
what the hell happened to Michael Keaton? I missed this guy. This was before Birdman and all the movies,
Oh, my God.
His big comeback.
Yeah.
So even
that
though
was actually
you
a
think
fail.
it's some old post or it's all
Melanie
gone,
fail.
nothing's ever gone. Nothing's ever really old.
No, and I mean, it just depends on if somebody else finds it. Like, I have one friend who, she and I have been friends for years, and she's sort of the kind of person who really celebrates people. She loves everything about you, which is great. I mean, it's such a nice thing to have in your life. But she'll go back through my old photos on purpose and sort of go through and look for things she might have missed. And if she missed it and it was 4 years ago, she'll comment on it. Well, that comment repopulates it into the newsfeed.
Right, because now that comment is now new.
It's new. So
Right.
then it'll be
wow.
shared with people for whom we have in common. Or if it's a
Wow.
public, like if I set that to public
Wow.
initially, it'll just kind of go out wide to
Right.
whomever Facebook thinks it would be interesting to beyond our
So
shared
there's
friends.
a recycled, regenerative
There's a recycle-
property. Wow, that's
Which is why Facebook has the
great
edge
and
over
scary
Twitter.
and all kinds of things at the same
Yeah.
time.
It's why Facebook has the edge over Twitter. It's why they can advertise. Because
I see.
I hate Twitter.
An advertiser can bet that their content will continue to live a life of its own long beyond the time that they hit publish.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas Twitter
yeah.
is a running river. It's just going. Now they're
Wow.
changing that. And you are seeing some stuff sort of repopulate based on who likes it, et cetera. But most people don't like it, and they aren't really engaging it that way.
And they're buying fans over there. Like it's crazy. Like my friend, I have a friend who buys fans. She has a social media guy that she's hired, and he goes in and buys. I don't know how it works, but all of a sudden, she's got, 30,000 more so-called fans,
Right.
and you get that little blue check, which is
Okay.
another process. Like
it's a mystery.
it validates your existence that you've gotten a blue check on Twitter.
Well, that jogs a memory. I need I want to get your opinion on this. I've read about bots. And
Right.
What are bots? And I think I've noticed it even on our SoundCloud page where I think our listenership is going up. Don't know if it's real. I mean, I'll see a jump from 27 views. All of a sudden, the next day, I have 66.
But that just means somebody either shared it or was engaged probably on social
Well,
because
maybe, but-
that amplifies.
but
But,
I
you
heard
wouldn't
that-
get bots without you paying for it. It's in nobody else's best interest to put a bot on
No, I think people are
following.
genuinely listening.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Thank you, people.
Yeah.
But tell me what bots are. I mean, bots they're not like worms that go out there and just up your
No,
numbers
no.
for
I mean,
no
they
reason.
are targeted. They're created so that, like, if I'm going to buy followers, for instance, it can happen a few ways, but one of the main ways, it's the fastest way, is for bots to follow. So it's just a program that's quickly setting up Twitter accounts and populating them automatically with a photo, a name, a this, a that. And then it's just going out. It'll also do a thing where it goes out and automatically likes tweets so it looks more legitimate. Like there's all these behaviors that are programmed into the bot to make it look like a more legitimate profile, and then it follows you. And so it counts as one of your followers. To a layperson, though, that follower account looks substantial and maybe you take it for what it is. But if that person had to say, let's say, oh, now I'm going to get an agent because I have this verified, that's what the blue check is, I have a verified account on Twitter as a comedian, let's say. That's a 2-minute scan. They can just run that through a bot check
Wow.
and say, oh, well, 67% of your followers are fake.
Right.
So
okay. So
you're-
it's
right.
easy identifiable.
Easy, really
Okay.
easy. I could do it right now for
All
free.
right. But it's something that you would pay for, do it yourself. It doesn't just happen to people.
Doesn't just happen.
Okay.
no.
Well, that gives me a little bit of hope and
Yeah.
confidence.
There's
Great.
I don't know
As
if you've
opposed to
noticed
my
how
cynical mind frame of this shit.
right, or like a bot, like porn bots. So you'll see them on Twitter.
Ooh.
Where
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
That might
right.
be the next name of my band. The
Porn bot.
The porn bots.
Porn bot.
Yeah, I like
No,
that.
I get a lot of those because I post about ass, and then all of
Sure.
a sudden an ass chick will ooh,
Absolutely.
and then I don't pay into it though because I see
Right.
like if I don't follow her back within like 5 days, she's gone.
I see.
The other thing is that there are bots that allow, let's say I am a porn company, and so I will place something that says I want anyone who follows Jenna Jameson. I'm going to follow them. I'm going to follow them.
Right.
So you can also set it up so that people who follow a specific organization, a specific brand,
Right.
then
You're part of that group now.
then you right. So
Okay.
I was applying for a job at Oculus with Facebook, and so I went on to follow a couple of their virtual reality Twitter accounts just so that I could get a sense of how they were tweeting. When I'm up for a job, I have to sort of get a look at how they're doing it now. Oh, I had like a huge influx of virtual reality Twitter accounts following me, and I was like, these are all set up on bots. Like they're all, yeah. So
Yeah, it gets creepy at times. Like, let me ask you, Melanee, do you really believe that this thing's listening to us right now?
no, not at all.
It's not.
No.
Because there are really strange moments. Thank you. We're getting some more wine here.
We need some more wine. This is blowing my head.
Right?
Yeah. I've been in a cave, social media. I mean, I know what it is, obviously. I don't live in a cave, but I'm in a cave. And I've just not been purposely engaging in this.
Yeah.
On the fringes, a little bit.
Right.
I had a band a while ago, and I had to do a Facebook page, but I never posted anything.
Yeah.
But now I think, the genie's out of the bottle. I either
Yeah.
come into the modern world or I literally go live in my cave.
Well, and you're coming into it. So if you do have those hesitancies and you are a private person, now more than ever, there are so many granular controls on what I can choose an audience. I can, for instance, say, I want you to show this to all my friends except these 3 people. I want you to show it to no one except these 5 people.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can set that as an ongoing, everything
Right.
posts that way. You don't even have to do it each time you post. You can change it each time, but you
Right.
can make that your default setting. So let's say, I have groups, let's say in Facebook. So I have created friend groups. They're called lists actually in Facebook. And they're all thematic for me. Some of it's family, but then I have unreasonable conservatives, reasonable conservatives.
Wow.
Unreasonable liberals, reasonable liberals. Because sometimes I want to post something and I don't want to fucking fight.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I
Wow.
want you
I'm
to
going
show
to
this
post it to all these people who are going to be...
everyone but the unreasonable conservatives in
Right.
my life, because I don't mind bantering back and forth with a
Right.
reasonable conservative. In
Right.
fact, it's more than not minding. I
Right.
want to.
You're making file
Yeah.
folders of groups of people.
Absolutely.
I see.
And I'm curating my own experience as a person using Facebook, which is not just throwing everything out there and then leaving myself open to any of the wolves.
Wow.
Sometimes I just don't want to hear it. Or let's say I'm traveling someplace and I really want to share. So let's say I had family in Cayucos. Is
Yeah.
that how you say it? So I know you go there a lot. But let's
Yeah.
say you had a friend there that was kind of not a friend, but kind of a nudge. And every time you go, they're like, I can't believe I didn't see you. You could just set the whole weekend to not have that content show to that person.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
Right.
Yeah.
I
That's it.
love seeing that when, hey, I'm in Vegas. Hey, how come you didn't call me? And it gets really awkward. I love when that happens.
I know. So
I don't want to fucking see you. I don't even know you. I'm not here to see you.
Right.
I'm here to get away from you.
right. So there's a lot of privacy controls that help you not
Yeah.
necessarily have to just take any of the slings and arrows
Yeah.
of your content that come along.
Right.
So
Well,
He still has to have a Facebook account in order to have a fan page. He can't just have a fan page.
not
Well-
so.
well,
Oh, really?
I mean, he can have a basic profile that doesn't have anything about him and just use that.
if I,
With that
we,
missing man head, I hate that. I
Yeah,
hate when
yeah, yeah.
people don't post a profile picture.
no, we're gonna have a profile picture.
I don't trust.
No,
No, I'm
well-
talking about on your personal thing.
Do I have to have a personal thing?
You have to have a profile, but you don't have to populate it with anything about you. You just
I mean,
have
if
to
I make
have it.
a magazine podcast Facebook page, do I have to have one for me personally?
You do because a profile has to be an administrator of a page.
Oh.
So you'd need to set up at least just a skeleton page.
All right.
Didn't have to say your name or anything. It could have some, name
I could
you
do
made
skeleton.
up.
Just
Right.
Jerry Attrick, and then just a picture
There
of
you
an old
go.
guy.
That's right.
And that's your profile.
Like we do
Jerry
it.
If you
We
want to
do
be
it.
incognito.
I do
Right.
it for brands. So sometimes
Right.
if I just cannot stand to get the notifications,
Right.
I will set up a separate Facebook account that says Playtex admin. You
Right.
know what I mean? So that it's just, right? I'm just the admin.
Wow. Isn't
Yeah.
she smart?
She's really smart. And actually, you know what I need? I need to put this aside a little bit.
Okay.
I need a little backstory. Obviously, people don't know this. Melanee just showed up here today. First time I met her. You guys know each other. I need to know how.
Oh,
We kind of didn't.
didn't at all. Was I more
Social
aggressive
media.
pursuing you? Yeah.
You met because of social
We
media?
met literally because of social media.
Well, this
Mutual
actually,
friends.
well, then this is a positive because you're awesome. And if most social media brought you together, then that's a kudo for social media.
And-
were you a fan of his? Is that how it happened?
No, we have the Four Postmen in common.
Yeah.
Oh, Four
I was
Postmen
friends
is,
with them.
is a great band.
Yeah, and I noticed Max because he's funny. So whenever I notice somebody who's like particularly funny and sharp, I'll engage their commentary. So I think I was doing that. Like
Yeah.
you were, and I kind of knew you were too because they would sometimes post themselves. They talked about you, and I
Right.
saw your artwork before
Right.
ever social media
So
came
your
along.
first introduction to Max obviously was not physical. You didn't meet at a show.
No,
It was
uh-uh.
strictly seeing his posting and
Facebook.
artwork online.
Facebook.
Facebook. Wow.
But understand, I'm going to be 47, and I stopped making friends years ago because I hate people.
Right.
And she is my first friend in years that
That-
I'm like, oh my God, I've got to actually see this person. So
sure-
we had a great lunch.
So her postings and her connection was so
Everything
amazing
about her.
that you said, you know what, I really want to meet you in person.
I did that. I think.
You stalked him a little bit.
I said we should get together
You
and go
did?
to Ernie's. Remember, I said
Yes,
let's have an Ernie's breakfast.
Oh my God, that's right, Ernie's breakfast.
Ernie's.
So we went and had, like, we could have gone all day, but
Yeah.
you know, we didn't.
And this is 5 years ago?
No. Well, I don't know.
Last year.
Yeah.
This is just last year?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then we started texting, but our idea of sexting is, have you seen this latest documentary? Like, we will just
Right.
go back and forth like fucking crazy
Right.
on a crazy documentary, and she's into docs,
Right.
and that just like,
Yeah.
because I don't have people who are into docs,
Right.
and who. And it's so funny, too, because she keeps throwing ones at me, and I see them, and then she threw one at me, last week or a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
You gotta see this, what is it called?
I usually
The Brothers.
Yeah, the brothers, the Sherman Brothers story, the
Sherman
boys,
Brothers
the
story.
boys.
And I said, well, does it involve murder? I mean, what is this? This is about two guys who write songs, but I trust her enough
Right.
that I'm actually gonna get to it.
Okay.
After my 8th documentary on Syria that I'm gonna
I
watch this
did
afternoon.
finally lead you to Tickled, and that was a little bit
Yes,
of gold.
you did.
Right? Yeah.
I tell you what, she blew my fucking mind because I wanted to see Oklahoma City so badly. It's now on Netflix, but it was completely unavailable. And she posted that she was watching it. I'm like, it was seriously like, you look at the detritus of a feed and she just, let the sun shine. She exploded. And I said, Melanie, how did you find this? And she goes, oh, it's right here, whoopity-doo. And up came the link, and it was within the hour that I dropped everything and watched a 2.5-hour documentary on Oklahoma City bombings, which got so deep and so layered and led into so many different things. And I'm texting her, we're going back and forth. And it was like, seriously, it was like great sex.
Yeah, we're very simpatico in that way.
So
right?
I see.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this
I
is
just
actually,
love her brain, and like she's funny, and like I was stuck at a comedy club one night, and I'm just like, I'm gonna text Melanee, and she was like right there.
Wow.
We don't have to go into your dating life, but then like she's dating.
I do send him things from an online dating profile.
Like during the date?
It's one of my very favorite things to do. No, I've actually never gone on the dates because I don't like to date, but I do like to peruse. So every now and then I'll just be so blown away by somebody who has swiped right on me. And then I'll screenshot it and I'll text it to Max, and then he'll either start to give me text feedback, which is always hilarious, but even better, sometimes he'll just voice the person.
Yeah.
And he'll then send me a voice text.
Yeah.
And I just cry.
Like
laughing.
what if she woke up the next day with this asshole? Like,
right.
What he would say to her.
That's right.
Right. So I actually I save them sometimes. I save them because I think, oh, I don't know if this is a good time for Max. It's pretty
Yeah.
late, but I'll send it another day.
Oh my God. If there's ever actually a viable candidate for a
Right.
date, would you run it by Max first before you even say yes to the guy?
I don't think we're there.
No, I
Not
would.
there yet?
You
Okay.
know
She's
why?
pretty independent.
Okay.
I'm pretty independent, but I do that mostly just because I know they're a no.
Yeah.
If somebody was a yes,
I
then
might ruin it for her.
right, I know
Oh,
it's a
I
no.
see. Oh,
but if
okay.
somebody's a yes, then I feel like this sort of responsibility of respectfulness.
Oh, okay. There
so
you go.
I need to start from a really clean karma place.
Right, and not,
So-
not come in with a preconception like, hi,
Yeah.
Max says you're already a douche. Let's go have dinner.
Like I'm already keeping the secret that he thinks you're, a noob.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to start from a bad place. So.
All right, I understand. Well, that I didn't know
That's
that.
the background of us,
It's
yeah.
amazing that, it obviously ties into what we're talking about. You guys meet on Facebook, and now
Yeah.
you guys are besties,
Yeah, we're
basically.
homies.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's kind of a good thing that she's not geographically desirable, because I'd probably be like torturing her a lot and saying, "Hey, can I bring a bottle of
That's
wine
right.
over and hang out with you? Your
Oh,
squirrel."
I would totally be into it.
Wow, that'd be fantastic.
For as social as I am, as in presentation, I am deeply withdrawn and prefer my own company. So the truth is,
Well,
I don't make new friends either. Because
But you're a hybrid, though. I mean, when you do,
I'm a hybrid
You're
when
not
I do.
someone that needs 1 million people. If you had 5 really close people, that's
Sure.
enough.
Right.
I concur.
Right.
I concur.
But because I like my own company, I don't need to just be hanging out with anybody who comes along.
Right,
So
right.
it's rare that I like somebody enough that I'm like, yeah, let's hang out.
Wow.
Mostly I'm like, no.
Right. And on that note, you pursued him.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, I think he sent me the friend request first.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Because I'll never friend request somebody I don't know first, because it does feel, for me, I always feel like, oh, is this me not reading? Because I'm so transparent and so available that I tend to get hesitant sometimes because I'll misread that someone else is as available. And sometimes people will be like,
I do that too.
Whoa, like, why is this person friending me? You know what I mean?
Right.
Things will get weird.
Right.
So I tend to that's kind of where my brakes hit.
Right.
So if somebody else friend requests me, I'm like, yay! Oh,
Right.
good. I wasn't
Right.
misreading it.
Yeah.
Like,
And you're anything
right.
but needy and want to latch onto people. You're the total
Absolutely.
opposite.
Right.
But when you feel like, this person, I want to bring this person to my little inner circle, you'll give an olive branch.
I'll kind of give an olive branch. And I also am too verbose. So if he's texting me, I have to constantly be in my head and be like, am I texting too much? Should I wrap it up? Should I? Because I'll talk and talk and talk if I find you interesting.
And it's funny too about that, because you can go to Facebook and look at the friend requests that you have sent that have not been responded.
Yes.
And the very few times that I've sent, I found like 20 people I reached out to that never accepted my. And there's some people that I've worked with and that I know. It's
Right.
like, and I
happened to
took
the
it
best of us.
personally. I'm
Oh.
like,
Yeah.
oh God, they must not want anything to do with
Oh
me.
my
And-
God.
I've even taken it back and reissued it thinking maybe they missed it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
then
No,
they don't.
nothing.
And
You
I'm
still
like,
get nothing.
I see. So it's great if you're in the power to say no, but when they say no to you, it's
no.
what's wrong with me?
The great
All
John DiMaggio, world famous voice actor. John and I worked together a bunch of times. I sent him a thing, and it took him 2 years to respond to it. and when I would see him in person, I didn't want to bring it up. Like, why won't you?
right.
No,
Maybe
it's
he's not a power user.
Do you think people that when you're not accepted as the friend, do you think, well, that guy's just now being an asshole?
I mean, listen, it's human nature to personalize any of that sort of interaction.
Okay, yeah.
It's really, here's the thing though, that's a slippery slope. I think we all make the mistakes initially when we first get online to kind of personalize it. We also put that person in the ideal situation to be responding. So we don't place them in traffic or talking to somebody at the moment, or because, like, for instance, I have total attention deficit disorder. So if you send me a message and I happen to be in the middle of something, might not remember for a week.
It's gone.
I don't remember if it came through Twitter direct message, Facebook direct message. I don't remember where I got it. It's so gone because I'm in the middle of something. And then people will get hurt, right? So they'll say, well, I guess you just never responded to that. I'm like, oh, you are thinking, here's what you're picturing. I looked at it. I decided, fuck this guy. And then I moved on.
Yeah.
And really, it's just that because it's a mobile device, it's
Right.
with you in, like, I'm in the can, like
Right.
I can't respond, and then I just slip my mind.
Right.
So I've learned over time, you can't really hyper personalize it. It makes sense to have that knee jerk feeling, but then I actually talk myself down off that feeling and go, I don't know what's going on in his life when he did that. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I had one guy who didn't accept my friend request. We worked together. We were great friends. We really got along really well. And I hadn't seen him in years, and I was happy to see him on Facebook. Actually, really excited to see him on Facebook. We had mutual friends. So I was like, and everybody knew this guy was there but me. Sent him a friend request for the longest time. He just didn't accept it. I was really kind of bummed out about it. I took it back, resent it just in case, which I think is kind of a nudge move. But if
Yeah.
depending on who it is, I'll do it. And then I still took it personally, and then shortly thereafter, I found out his wife passed away, that she'd been sick that whole time.
Right, there you go.
And you
yeah.
just don't know.
And it has
you
nothing
really,
to do with you.
It's a
Nothing
C,
to do.
man. It's a
Right.
C.
Yeah, you can't set yourself in the center of somebody else's experience.
Right, but that's a very conscious and a very well-rounded point of view. Most people, I don't think like you.
That may or may not be true. Sure,
Yeah.
there's definitely people who can't ever. Because even if I told that story, they might go, but still, he was probably on Facebook sometime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she did that to me once. I sent her something and she didn't respond. And then like a week later, I get an apology. And I'm like, what are you apologizing
Because
about?
it was so funny. He texted me, and I'm like, oh, well, how rude. Like, it was so funny, and I didn't even, like, acknowledge it.
But like, I didn't even care. But I understand that sensitivity. I mean, I actually think I'm much more hypersensitive than even you are about that.
About that kind of thing, I think so.
I mean, I'm like, I'm doing everything wrong and
Right.
I'm ruining lives.
Or so here's advice I'd give you. Part of your persona
Yeah.
is that you're a little polarizing, right? It's a part of your charm, actually.
Yeah.
Like that you'll say things that sit on the edge.
Yeah.
They're provocative. And they're not accidentally provocative. They're sort of provocative in and of themselves.
Right.
Then you'll provoke a reaction, and it'll upset you. It'll upset you that everybody kind of climbed on. And you'll be
Yeah.
like, never mind, I'm getting off for a while.
It's true.
And I'm
Right.
like, well, that's a vicious circle. You either have to just stand in your own truth and
She's
know
absolutely right.
know you're saying something provocative and just hang in.
And
like,
own it.
Like stand in the face of the wind. Or say, if I don't like the way it feels when everybody sort of responds that way, well, maybe then I just won't write that way anymore. Like maybe I'll rethink that topic.
She's absolutely correct.
I think she just basically tore you apart.
I'm not.
No.
It's all advice.
She's right.
You better, you have to own what you say.
It's been a struggle, Melanee. It's been a struggle. No, seriously, it has.
No, and listen, I mean,
finding
I think,
my voice.
And I have changed a lot. Like, okay, so I very first came on, I was doing MySpace. Facebook came along. I was an early adopter, but I wasn't really in it because it was boring compared to MySpace. I didn't realize that they were brilliant because the sort of bells and whistles of MySpace wore off. And I was kind of like, anyways. And the Facebook experience was just much more streamlined and pleasant, pleasing at deep levels. That's why Zuckerberg's a gazillionaire. But I was also on Twitter, and I was only on Twitter. I couldn't figure out how I was going to use it. I kept thinking, what do I need? Same as you, I had sort of simplified the look at it where I thought, well, I've got MySpace and Facebook. What do I need? Some platform that only lets me write 140 characters. What would I say? And then I found my way to some really funny people who were really thriving on the limit, where they were like, how can I be as funny as possible, write a really tight little joke, and really hit it in 140 characters left. And that hooked me. I was like, oh, I'm into that because I did stand up for a little while.
And it forces you to be succinct and to the point and get all the crap of your statements out of there.
It gets you to use the editor in your head. That's this very particular editor, and I love that kind of a challenge. So I was in, and then that's all I used it for was just funny. We call it joke Twitter, and like all my friends on Twitter were all also joking in that same way. And I have great friendships with some of those people. And I used to be the person who totally judged chat rooms back in the 90s where people would be like, I'm in a chat room and I'm making friends. And then I'd be like, ugh, who needs that?
Right.
So judgmental, like so super judgy of it. And really, I had such a wealth of friends in real life. I didn't need it. I was like, why would I ever need to go searching out a stranger at a distance for a friendship? I get it now. But that's what I mean by... you change over time. I really feel like the interface of like digital friendship and also the public platform where I might be able to say something to you guys under my breath that's kind of half funny and never think about it, right? Maybe you guys laugh because, oh, you realize it's inappropriate, but you also know I'm kidding. And also, who calls everybody out on all the jokes that they make? And like, so it might just be a moment that passed. On Facebook or Twitter, if you make a joke that's too mean, and I used to do that. So I used to be a lot meaner than I am. Because I love comedy. So it's really, I'm torn.
Right.
Because I love something that's really good and funny. But over time, with like people that I respected, even funny people that I respected who would sometimes go, ooh. And then of course, I'd bristle initially because we all have ego first. I'd be like, oh, what? It's not a big deal. And then I'd realize I didn't feel good about it. I realized, like, no, actually, my reaction was I didn't feel good about that. I took him down. So I kind of thought, now there's an extra challenge. I want to be funny in this succinct way without making somebody else the butt. Right? Without making somebody else the fall guy for my humor.
It basically, because the whole format upped your game.
It upped my game.
That's
great.
And
it changed me too, because it makes me look at myself a little bit more directly, because you get the benefit. I really think it's a benefit, even though sometimes it doesn't feel good. You get the benefit of other people kind of giving you an honest moment of reaction. Now, listen, maybe they're so off base, and you should be able to read that and go, oh God, anyway, like that person's at a cult. You know what I mean? Like they live in a cult. Of course they're upset with that. But sometimes when there's a patter, like a lot of patter rises up and it's all very similar, I feel bad about it. I'm usually defensive at first because I'm human. And then I realize that I shift the way I behave because I'm like, I actually don't like that.
Right.
I don't like that.
So they're affecting your behavior.
It affects me. Yeah, it affects me.
Let me ask you a question. Do you do it all? I mean, every single day. Are you doing Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? What's the other one? Snapchat. Are you doing
Tumblr.
it all? I mean, are you...
I'm on everything.
I mean, obviously, this is your full-time job, but it seems like if it's not your full-time job, to be on all those things for all the people out there, it's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job.
Do you ever take a break? Do you ever just wake up and say, I'm going to have a social media free day?
I don't.
This is your life, and you're in it for the long haul.
It's also what I do.
I know it's what you do. I get that. You're in a different category because most people, this is not what they do.
Right.
But even though it's what you do, and it's a Saturday, and it's a beautiful day, do you go, I'm just not going to log on today?
I never not log on.
Really?
But I do set the phone down. And
for how long?
I could go the whole day, or I could go a weekend without ever publishing.
Oh, okay.
But I might take in what's going on because there's also news.
So at least you take a break from putting it out. You'll take it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm never not logged on. I always log on. to Facebook specifically. Almost every day to Instagram, here and there for Twitter, here and there for Snapchat. I mean, I do it for a living too, so I'm
Right.
doing it all day long.
I understand.
And so sometimes the last thing I want to do is that at the end of the day.
Right.
But it's different. Those are my people.
But you never take a vacation and say, you know what? I just want to take a week and go to Borneo and disconnect and go, hang out with the pygmy tribe.
I'd really like to try that if you have a way that I can achieve that.
First, make a lot of money.
I think the next
Then,
episode is me after Borneo.
There you go. I would love that.
I think she's extremely sexy, and one of the reasons is she goes, "Hey, so how great?" I'm paraphrasing, but like she'll wake up in her PJs and then she'll take off her PJs, take a shower, and get back in her PJs
Yeah.
to do work all day.
Right.
And I just think that's like the hottest thing I've ever read.
Wow.
And is it the same PJs?
I said,
Wow.
no, you're not living until. I mean, that's the
Wow.
beauty of working from home.
But which image is the hotter for you? Is it the shower or the PJs? Is it toss
It
up?
might be putting on. If the PJs have already been kind of worn a couple days, it's kind of
Right.
putting those back on after
No, knowing
a fresh
you,
shower.
that's
Fresh
true.
PJs, it's
Knowing
fresh
you,
PJs.
so like kind of like 2-day-old stinky PJs.
No, they don't have to be stinky.
Well,
but
I
they,
know you. You kind of like the stink.
They're Melanee dark ripe. It's not stink.
Oh my God. I
Melanee dark ripe.
I
like
only
that.
put on new pajamas after the shower because I've showered.
Okay, so every day is a new pair of pajamas. You're like Einstein.
I have a lot of pajamas. I'm a big
Is
fan.
it pajamas or is it pajama pants and like an undershirt?
Well, it's pajama pants and like a t-shirt.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm constantly doing laundry so that I always have a fresh set.
See?
So that's what she's working
But if I go to
Right.
bed, so when I go to bed though that night, I get into last night's pajamas,
Oh.
which by the way drove my ex crazy.
Well,
I didn't know, but he's very OCD, and so a lot of times I'd go stay there, and I'd be there like 3 days. I wear the same pajamas the whole time, 3-4 days, whatever. And at one point, he finally said, "You gonna come out of those pajamas anytime soon?"
Oh,
And I was like, "Wait a minute,
Well,
you've never said anything about this."
right.
But he showers twice a day with a fresh towel each time.
Well,
so it's a whole-
one
No,
man,
each time. Oh, that's funny.
one man's pet peeve is another man's fantasy. you
Yeah,
know, so
that's right.
Right? He like maybe
They're not all
maybe
cut from
tomorrow
the
I'll
same
get into
cloth.
the same pajamas.
Oh,
And I will post it on Instagram.
Oh, Max is quaking.
I'll
in
do
his
my
socks.
tongue trick into the word
Perfect
video.
segue.
It is a perfect segue. I have to admit, he gave me a little bit of a. Well, I guess we could maybe do a little video. You were on. We're gonna digress.
Yes.
David Letterman's stupid.
She was on Late Night, right?
Late Night, the first
not
one.
Late Show.
No. It was right after he'd gone over to the
So
Ed
Late
Sullivan
Show.
Theater. So Late Show. It
Is
was,
this 10 years ago?
no,
20?
it was 22
20
years ago.
Now you have a special talent, which I'm assuming most guys would be into. Tell everybody.
I get a lot of marriage requests.
I'm sure you do.
And after the show, I got weird guys calling my house for over a year.
They found your number?
Yeah, I was listed.
Wow. Ooh.
I
She
didn't.
was doing stupid human tricks with her tongue.
Right.
I
She
had
was on
no-
stage with Letterman forever.
I was so naive. I really didn't think that would be anything that I
Now,
would deal
you
with.
can go to YouTube and see this.
Yes.
And it's Melanee
Melanee
Dark.
Dark tongue tricks. I think.
Tongue
Yeah.
tricks.
Did Dave come
Letterman.
at you?
Well, did you see the video?
Of
Yeah,
course.
he
was
got a lot of
very,
screen
he
time.
like held on to me
He
and
was
like he
holding
kissed
on
me
to
at
you.
the end. You
Yes,
hear
he
him
did.
kiss me, but
Yeah.
you can't see it. It's off screen.
And of course, you love funny guys and funny
oh,
girls.
and he
so
smelled amazing.
Did he
So
say
he
something
turned you
to you?
on.
Oh, I was in
Did he
love
bring
with
you
him.
close and whisper something in your ear before you left?
No, I wish.
Oh.
When I found out that he was like kind of banging his way around things, I was like,
Well-
what? I was so mad.
Oh, yeah.
well,
Like
first-
I fully would have made that mistake. 100%.
Let's give everybody a visual. Tell us visually what you can do.
I can do a perpetual, like undulating wave with my tongue.
Can you do it now?
how did you
Yeah.
discover that?
Show us.
Well, okay. You can't.
Yeah.
You're kind of blocked, but I'll.
No, I can see. Okay, I can see.
Oh my God.
That is
I've never
fanta-
seen it
Oh,
live.
my God.
She worked the profile and the
Wow.
eyebrows. How did you discover that?
That
I mean-
is wow.
Yeah.
That's how, but that's how you go to Borneo.
That's a perfect time for the breeze to come into the
I
window
tell
because
you,
I needed it.
one Craigslist ad in a week, you're off.
I know,
You
right?
could charge a lot for that.
Yeah.
How
It
did
was
you
good.
discover
And
that?
you know the best
Can-
part is when
can-
I was on Letterman, the band broke into music afterwards.
Yeah.
And it was Paul Schaefer, he broke into I want your love. I need your love. It was so great. I was like,
That's awesome.
it wasn't lost on me.
That's great.
Were you ever a belly dancer where you can do that with your stomach and like do the stomach muscles?
No. In fact, I can do about 8 different tongue tricks.
Really?
Yeah, they only wanted me to do the one. I did almost all of them on Oprah. I was also on Oprah.
Wow.
You were on Oprah?
Yeah.
But at what age do you discover you've got this amazing tongue muscle?
Tiny, just because if you can do it in the same way, if you can,
happens.
you can fold it like a taco, like a lot of people can.
Right.
Yeah.
You just will because you can. So I was an only child for a long time, and I self-entertained.
Yourself,
yeah, and we had these mirrors in the staircase, and I would look in the mirror, and I would just try to do all these different things. So I could do a bathtub with it. I can make it into a smiley face. I can turn it all the way around and touch the back of my throat.
Wow.
I can do all kinds of wild things with it.
Well, as a man, the possibilities are endless. Forget the pajama fantasy.
Undies
There's
under
now
the pajama?
a brand new
Undies?
fantasy.
Do you wear undies under
If
the
you
pajama?
did that
Always,
in
always.
dirty
Okay.
pajamas, Max would divorce his wife and marry you.
I'm going to go visit her hamper anyway.
Anybody
My
listening,
wife won't care.
you have to go to YouTube, type in Melanee Dark, and it's Melanee Dark.
Correct.
Go see her do her tongue trick on David Letterman, and don't call her because I think probably her number is not listed.
No longer listed.
Okay, but it's pretty amazing, and the fantasy speaks for itself. Now, I want to go back. And that number one, that was amazing, and I'm going to be thinking about that for a long time.
All right, fantastic.
So I want to go back to social media in a social context, not regarding posting, but regarding what people are doing in the context of a concert, which also goes into what happened to you last night, Max.
Right.
I love music. I'm a musician. I'm in a band. Max loves music, and we go to
He has
concerts.
brandable qualities, right? With that, muscle shirts, world travel,
Great hair.
drumming, and great hair.
Oh, well, thank you for that. Thank you. You go to concerts, and people don't watch concerts anymore.
No.
They watch them through their phone because they want to post it. So now you're watching the concert through someone's phone. And it's not one person doing it, it's 100 right in front of you. And number one, in your opinion, your professional opinion, what's up with that? Number two, everyone that's doing it, stop it! Number three, it is such a pain in the ass, especially when you pay for really good seats and you've got everybody holding up their phone and watching it.
Right.
What's going on?
Well, okay, so there's some artists that have a very strict rule about it, and if there's a really strict rule about no recording, then you see less of it in the audience because you can get kicked out. So nobody wants to get kicked out, and some artists have their bouncers and their security be very serious about that. So Prince was that way. You know, there's like different artists where it's like, no, you cannot record this.
But would they?
Who's the Broadway diva that kicks someone out of a show for filming it with their phone?
I don't remember.
But they'd have to kick out half of the audience.
She
Well,
stopped
no,
the
what
play.
I'm saying is when the rule is very overt and expressed, you see less of it because
Really?
people don't want to get kicked out.
Okay, so
Now,
it's really on the artist to have a sign that's saying, "Do not do this."
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, and it's usually
Every
on the
artist
tickets,
do
and
this.
it's usually. In the case of like smaller bands, a lot of them encourage it because sure,
They want the exposure.
free advertisement.
Yeah.
It's free.
I filmed The Girl in the Glory, and it got a lot of hits
Absolutely.
on my Insta.
Really?
Yeah,
I guess
And
I
it-
would have known that if I went to your Facebook
Yeah, but
page.
you don't give a shit.
And people and people do it because they want to share. It's like they want to share the experience, right? It's like this is like here, look at this with me. And
This
so
means a lot to me. I'm here tonight. I wish you were here. Check out where I'm at.
totally.
Wow.
And like also, here's what's really I find. So I can tell you from a personal point of view. If I'm really having like kind of an amazing experience, I really like sharing it feels like how cool is this? Like I'm kind of celebrating it at a larger level rather than just thinking it to myself, which is fine too. But sometimes it feels like you're just like, check it out. It's like a sunset. If you've got someone with you, you don't just look out the window and think it to yourself. A lot of times you go, look at that. Look at that.
That's true.
And that's really what people are doing if they're having kind of especially for like larger than life moments, something that's really
I know.
special.
She posts a lot of Santa Monica sunsets.
Really?
I mean, and I come from, here's the other thing. I think I had this, not an argument, actually. I had this conversation with a coworker who had a negative idea about social. And I said, what's the whole, tell me what the thing is for you. And she said, I just, great. I want to go online and watch everybody brag about their lives that aren't even for real. And I said, wow, that's like, keep in mind, that's dragged through your filter. I said, because, I post a lot of things that are really like beautiful, like the beach or whatever. And it's just because I'm blown away with gratitude that I get to live here right now. I didn't always.
Right.
I lived in an alley behind a laundromat.
Wow.
I lived in, the Circle K Culver City Motel for 10 weeks next to Fall Down Drunks. Like,
Wow.
I've definitely lived in terrible situations where I couldn't go out at night because we were on Crenshaw.
Now it's
Like,
all about gratitude.
Right. And so when I find myself, getting to live there and getting lucky enough to luck into a place I could afford, because
Right.
it just happened to be this weird, cheap little thing, every single time I walk out the door, no matter where I'm going, I walk toward the ocean first and then where I'm going.
So you think that when people are at a concert and they're filming it, they're grateful and they want to share it with everybody?
Yeah, it's like so cool. I'm so happy.
Well, here's my request. That's great. If anybody wants to share it, can you do it behind me? That would be really great. That's all I request. I'm grateful that you're there. I'm
Yes.
grateful I'm seeing whatever show. Just film it behind me.
I will tell you, I am not a fan of people with their arms straight all the way up.
That's what they do.
I do think it's really mindless. And anytime that I'll admit it, I've broken the rules. So I was just at the Book of Mormon. They don't want you to do any recording. I did none, except at the very end where I knew it was the last scene. And I thought, I'm going to take a little clip of this, but I held it against my chest so that nobody else would have anything impeded.
Right.
And I did like 8 seconds.
Right.
So I didn't go all ad nauseum and give away the show or anything. And then I posted up to Instagram just saying, like, this was awesome.
That's
This
great.
was great. So I'm certainly somebody who'll break the rule, but
not
try to
impede
do
someone
it
else's
right with
point.
the mindfulness of the
Yes.
spirit of the rule.
Well, I wish everybody was as considerate as you.
Yeah, you're sincere, but boy, there are the people that your coworker
Totally.
was
Right.
talking about
Yeah.
that will smear their happiness in your face, and you want to decapitate.
Well, let's get to this. Now, I know last night you went to an awesome show.
I did.
And let's give it up to all the old rockers out there. All the old bands,
Yeah.
30, 40 years old, all the people that are in their 70s.
Yeah, man.
They can still do it.
Yeah.
And I saw King Crimson last week. Robert Fripp is 75
Oh, yeah?
years old. Fucking rocks.
That's
Just
great.
Max, tell us who you saw last night and how great
I love
and
the
frustrating
hype.
it
I
was.
love the hype buildup.
Yes.
I saw Roger Waters, the
How-
Us and Them show, and
And-
I've seen Waters plenty of times. Nothing compares to this.
This was the best one you've
Nothing
seen.
by far, nothing compares to this. This was an absolute disembodied, otherworldly experience. I left myself
Wow.
and was so blown away by its power. Every goddamn song had a whole visual story, and he keeps changing the visuals on these things. Sure, he'll go back to the old classic Gerald Scarfe animations, for a lot of the wall stuff and stuff like that. This is a guy who's very controversial. He's pissing people off because he's got this thing with the Palestine-Israeli conflict. It doesn't matter. The point is, if he is on Palestine's side on this thing and feels that Israel's being a dick, fine. A lot of people don't agree with that. The point is, this guy wants to get above that, and he wants them both to stop fighting. And the whole point of the show was, it really is us and them. It really is the misfits, the liberals, the artists, the freaks against the Trump organization. I mean, that's like the subtext of the show.
mainstream.
Right.
And then there is this visual theme going through. It's theater of the mind. So just imagine my two hands coming together, and every time the hands come together, a new visual thing happens with the
how
hands.
cool.
And I got to tell you, man,
He's
I
the
was
king at that.
I was so transported, but you have to understand, I had to put myself in a very exhaustive, premeditative state of patience before the show began, because I knew trouble right away. I knew when the bald guy plopping down next to me all fired up and telling me, we're in for something special tonight. I said, have you ever seen Waters before? Have you heard the new album? None of it. He's just there with his fucking iPad, which he
Right.
held up high because he was a short little bald
right in
fucker.
front of you.
And right in front, obstructed our... I had to switch seats with Nicole because it was obstructing her view.
Could you
And
even
she's
say,
short.
dude, put your iPad down?
Before I was able to, a guy behind me said, put your fucking iPad down, which was great.
And did he?
He lowered it a little bit, but yeah, he finally his arms got tired because
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. And I'm actually watching like his filming technique. The iPad's going horizontal, vertical, it's a mess. He's zooming in too fast. It's just like,
Because now you're watching the show through his iPad.
500 other fart machines have already posted the entire fucking concert on YouTube through their phones. What is he bringing to the table visually? Nothing.
Right.
So I made a very sardonic list when I got home last night of things not to do at a concert.
Right.
And I don't want to read my own shit.
But it was great, but it was, a subtext where it was also frustrating.
Actually, would you mind
Oh,
reading the list?
I'd happily read it.
Here we go.
This is my list.
What I love
Start from the
about
beginning.
it is that some of it is very particular and very specific, and then some of it is so broad that I was like, what?
All right, so
Okay, so
read
here's
the
a
top.
list.
There's an introductory line.
Pardon me, I just bobbled. I just made a big mistake. All right. Concert goers, do me a favor. Don't talk. Don't scream. Don't tell others to sit down. Don't tell others to stand up. Don't eat quarter pounders while in your seat. Don't spill liquids down our backs. Shut up. Don't film the show with your camera, phones, or iPads. Be respectful and don't brazenly enter restrooms undesignated to your gender to unleash your fluids and or meats. That is such Max speak, by the way. Meats. And then in parentheses, this has nothing to do with transgender folks, so don't freak the fuck out on me and accuse me of discrimination. Next point. Girls, don't hang on to your man. Dudes, don't sway with your girls. Swaying is now off the list. Don't slip your hands into your partner's rear pockets as though that is at all in the way of your experience. Here, and then it goes on to don't even hug. Don't hug. Which I told him I'm going to break that rule right in front of him at the next concert.
Do you want people in body condoms, basically?
Yeah, right? Like, lower your arms. Don't sing along. I mean, I can get on board with that depending on the nature of the singing. Don't scream out the name of the artist. Don't scream out the name of the song. Don't relay factoids during the song about the artist or the song. Don't yell out requests. Don't vomit. It's a pretty good one.
I'm on board.
reading.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
on
pretty
board with
basic.
that. Yeah.
Don't become petulant or indifferent or pouty when the artist chooses to perform new material. Do not grab merch that isn't yours or that you have not purchased yourself, especially from the hands of others
It
who
happened.
have fairly purchased said items legally and before you got so fucked up. Don't flick popcorn around. Don't vape, unless it's really good shit and gets me high. Don't smoke out, unless it's really good shit that gets me high by contact. Don't yell. Scream, fart, dance, cry. Okay, it's okay if you cry. I cry often at shows. It's okay if you cry. Don't loiter. Don't loiter. Don't loiter. Don't malinger. Don't argue with the ushers. Obey the up and down lanes of row section traffic like you would freeway traffic directionally. Don't rudely dig your fingers into my lower back under fluorescent lights as we are slowly, exhaustively exiting the venue. Don't sell t-shirts afterwards that are not officially licensed t-shirts. Don't exist.
Wow, her reading was
That
so
was
much
great.
funnier than the material.
Wow.
I thought it was a reasonable list. Like I'm
That
standing
is, but
afterward.
that's a lot of rules, dude.
Afterward, I'm standing outside the ladies' room waiting for
Right.
Nicole, and this drunk chick comes up to me. We bought the Waters program, beautiful program. She goes, "What's that?" and grabs it out of my hand.
Oh, fuck.
With her two, and I said, "Excuse you," and I snatched it back out, and I looked at these three drunk chicks and some tall, gawky popcorn guy. He's chomping popcorn. The four of them right in front of me. I said, "All of you need to back the fuck away from me, especially you, popcorn fuck." That's exactly what I said, and they were all like, "Fine, fuck you." And, but I seriously, like she snatched my
Oh my
merch.
God. I mean, the whole vibe of this wonderful show is
Exactly,
completely
sir.
now in the toilet.
Exactly.
Oh my
Unless,
God.
like me, you kind of enjoy the angst of Max Koch.
Right, yeah. Well, the thing
And
is,
it would-
though,
it
even
would
though
make
he's,
my-
he's experiencing it, he knows it's going to be an awesome post the next day.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, my whole life is material now.
I know,
Thanks
I know.
to these.
Oh, yeah. These
And
channels.
if you have this brilliant, awesome woman, digging
Right.
your stuff like I dig her stuff, it makes you want to create stuff.
I understand.
It makes you be on the lookout.
Because now she's upping your game because you're writing
She
something.
has upped my
and
game
You're
in
thinking
Really?
Melanie's going to see this. Of
Really?
course. You would think so.
I do think that
of
you're gonna see
course.
it.
I
You know
didn't-
that you've totally upped his game. He knows you're going to
That's
see it.
good.
Of course.
I didn't know that.
See? How great are
Especially
you now?
with your indispensable help today. I'm going to try even harder now.
Oh, the
to
little
own
bit
up
of...
on the shit.
Oh, well, that's actually only for your sake. It's like good emotional management for your own sake, right?
Wow.
It's like,
Emotional management.
Wow,
Yeah.
Look at all
you.
the terms.
Well, you're going to be emotionally
She's
managed.
she's like
I
a
don't think-
funky Santa Monica liberal Yoda.
He could never be emotionally managed, by the way. I've known him for too long. I want to do something I've never done on this show before.
There's only been 12 shows. I know. Or 11.
All right, there's 11 shows. We love old bands, and you went to go see yours. I went to go see mine.
Yeah.
I got tickets for another one, and Max, on this show, I'm going to ask you on a date.
Oh God.
From witnessing history.
We love bands from the 80s.
Great.
There's one that I love.
What's not to love?
Called The Fix. I love
Right.
The Fix. You know, one
that-
thing leads
Yep.
to another. Max, I got tickets for The Fix at a concert in the Valley. Would you be my date?
What's the venue?
It's called the Canyon Club.
Okay, is that the one in Agura with
Yeah,
all?
yeah.
Is it? Are there seats?
Yeah.
There are seats.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's on me. Would you come to The Fix with me?
When is this?
It's
I
actually
really don't care about the Fix, and I've seen them live.
When's the show?
September 3rd. You're turning me
date
down?
planner.
You can turn me down.
I will say
I thought I would be
how
in
I
the
am
moment.
about concerts is there's such effort that I have to be like over the moon for the artist.
I gotta be over the moon for
I'll
the
tell
Fix.
you what you can do. You can take the list that Melanee just read
Yeah.
and print it out.
Yeah.
And we can sit there with the list and you can show everybody.
Or just
before
wear
the-
it on a t-shirt.
There you go. You can make
You know
a
what?
t-shirt of the list.
You know what? I will tell you what just sold me. You said two things. On me. No, I'm not a cheap guy. No, but you did say that. And then you said that there are seats because you invited me to Kristen Hirsch.
I did.
Who you turned me on to,
Yes.
really. And I am so in love with her. And you give me her stuff and then I buy her stuff and everything else. And then you invited me to some club in Silver Lake.
Yeah.
And then you told me that there were no seats.
Right.
I can't stand. When I told you, we talked about it on the show. When I saw X at the Hollywood, at the Roxy.
At the Roxy.
It was a special night, so my friend got very special tickets. So it was watch X do their mic check. Mike Watt opens, X performs. It was 4 solid hours standing on concrete.
Wow.
With a bunch of wannabe punk rockers, and I need to be around the real punks that can actually handle it. But like, the heat, the stink,
Was
the
there a mosh
bodies.
pit?
No one
No.
was moshing. I
No,
was
but
so
no moshing.
disappointing.
But you're too old to stand. And I get that.
It just hurts my calves.
I'm the same. I
But
don't
if
like
you're
standing
telling me
in-
we have seats,
We do.
Well, I'm going to go with you.
You're coming with me.
I'm coming with you.
You're not into
I'm coming with you.
And
I'm not into the Fix. What's the other one they do?
They do Red Skies at Night. Oh,
Red
ho.
Skies at Night. Oh. I have to see that live.
No.
I'm going to kill myself. You're
right.
buying all of my beverages. You're buying my dinner. And you're
Okay.
picking me up. And you're dropping me off.
I think this is going to be a really special
Really? I
night.
got to pick you up?
I'm not driving out to Agura. I'm going to get wasted.
All right. Wow. You know what? I don't want to go with you. Melanee, what are you doing September 3rd?
Oh, I think I'm free.
She's fun.
I know. She's awesome.
I wish she was more of a drinker, though. She's really not.
Yeah,
I
it's okay.
used to be able to drink, but
I gave her literally 3 inches of
Yeah.
white wine, and there's still some left over.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because I'm covered in sweat.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you really? Okay.
Yeah, it makes me hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're,
Well,
you're
I-
already
Or
hot.
it's
You're very
you.
into the wine.
You're
Or
very
it's
hot.
you.
And, you know,
Yeah.
well, also, well, it might
She
be-
was
I think
nice.
it's
She
him.
was nice to point to you too.
Well,
Oh,
I
of
think it's him.
course.
It's him. Well, I'm hot because of the tongue.
She
Come
likes
on.
your muscle shirt.
Well, I thought I'd be very hot up here.
She likes my wine gut. She thinks it's hot. She likes my pasty white
You're
hairy
gonna think
legs
of her
and my
her-
ankle socks.
Well, you just like her dirty pajamas. Come on.
I do.
I know you do.
I
do.
I could have worn them.
Melly, I don't mind self-promotion and promoting yourself. If anybody wanted social media consultation, where can they find you? What's your company name?
I don't. I'm just me, and I work full time for an organization, so I'm not really.
Oh, I thought you were a freelancer.
I'm not. No.
Oh, my mistake.
No,
I mean, I
she's
do-
That, she's
I
that good.
do-
That's why she turned down NASA on her own show, dude.
I have done freelance work for different organizations, but
Okay.
when you're doing a full time gig, it's
Okay.
really a lot of heavy lifting.
Okay, all
So
right.
I don't really.
But as a
do-
personality, Melanee Dark.
Melanee Dark, go find her. Go
That's
find
right.
the videos. Go see her tongue. Go read her Facebook posts. She's
Yeah.
awesome. She's
Yo,
funny.
Big Mel.
Her Twitter accounts are
Yo, Big Mel.
I'm seriously begging you, fuck stand up. I'm so glad you got out of that racket. But I'm seriously begging you to talk behind a microphone because you do it so well.
Oh,
You do. You got to have
thanks.
your own podcast.
I did just get for Christmas. I got my very first microphone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to be doing that to it.
Okay.
Just do it.
Just do it.
All right.
You have a lot to say.
I do.
I'm going to say that this was great.
She
and
can
you
talk
were
about
awesome.
anything.
Well, she can talk about anything but anything.
Lemon meringue pie. What are your thoughts?
I love it.
What? What are
Yeah,
they?
I love it. I love it. My grandmother used to make it from scratch.
Wow.
That's my history
What
of
was her
lemon
name?
meringue. Lavana Young. She was actually my step grandmother, but she made everything from scratch, including killing the chickens. So really,
Wow.
I mean,
She killed her own
Did you do
chickens.
the spin?
yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Wow.
Wow.
She'd kill them and strip them
Did
down.
that kind of ruin it to now go out to crappy restaurants or most restaurants and just go, well, my grandma could do this so much better?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it does kind of ruin anything that's homemade when you've got somebody who's rendering her own lard.
Right.
Like, that's a farm life.
Is there hope for Lorenzo, or do you think he's just
I
kinda...
think there is. I think though that I love that you're open to it.
I am open.
And I think that you you seem a little bit more like maybe relaxed to the idea. I
You
think
help
that you
me.
would like some support, and I would like to make a prediction.
Yeah.
Before we leave this fantastic conversation. If you add him as an admin, first of all, you're going to get all your friends to follow. That's just a natural. Like, we all support each other online. That's how that works. You would, even if he didn't want to, against his own better judgment, he would engage the commentary there. Because as an admin...
I want him to.
Right, you're going to get
want him-
notifications when people mention anything or
Right.
talk
I
on
want
anything.
him to post whatever he wants anytime he wants.
Right,
Of course.
exactly.
Free reign.
Right.
I am coming over to the dark side.
You are.
I am. I'm going to make a declaration here. Everyone listening, in the future, pretty soon, we're going to unveil the Magazine Podcast Facebook page.
He's still attached to the name.
It is what it is. If you don't like it, fuck you.
You can always launch another one.
Well,
Right.
I guess we
Right?
could do an AKA or something. I like the name. There's a reason for the name, but that was
you
already
could give
said
it
on the
a...
first.
Can't you give it a subtitle?
We could.
Some have that.
We
right?
could. We could do subtitles.
Yeah, just a little-
I don't mind things evolving. That's all really
Right?
cool. Yes.
Course correction. We're all growing.
That's right.
We're just
That's
growing.
right.
Quick question. Do you have
Yes.
a smartphone?
I
you
do.
use those?
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
Good. Right. You're going to go hand in
It
hand.
took him forever.
It did.
Of course.
And
That's
once
why
he
I
did-
asked.
I literally
He
got it.
had a flip phone up until
why I asked.
2 months ago.
6 months ago.
It's why I asked. It's actually
I know.
really common with
One of
people
those
who
sons
don't
of
adopt
did
Anarchy
not
social.
want
throwaway
one.
phones
Yeah.
that you
I
get at
did.
7-Eleven.
Yeah.
It lasted for 20 years.
Of course,
It was the
they
best
do.
phone ever.
Absolutely.
He would get texts and he'd flip up and it'd be like
Yeah.
early
It was-
digital.
It was awful.
Yeah,
It was awful.
that's why I asked.
I had to. I had
Okay,
to.
good. Because I wanted to make sure that you had a phone where you would see your notifications and be able to access
Yes,
your
I
page.
do.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
yeah. I have 1 foot in the 21st century.
Well, if you boys need, a little help or advice, I
Well,
mean,
thank
you
you.
are inner circle. So
Well,
just let
thank
me
you.
know.
I appreciate that a lot.
Melanee Dark,
Melanee-
how great is she?
I want to know. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of them, but for this episode, final thoughts. Give the audience something to remember you by. Anything that comes to your head. What can you leave us with?
You know what? I would just say that it doesn't make sense to put yourself behind the 8 ball and not be on social. It's just a part of life now, and not participating in it from a perspective of having something that you want to share with the world. It's you're just setting yourself up for a kind of failure you don't need. So
Who needs
go
failure?
for it. Nobody.
Speaking
nobody.
of failure, Max.
What? Oh, thanks. Jesus. Grim
On
tidings.
that note,
I gotta go.
Max, final thoughts.
No, I thank you so much, Melanee, for coming. I knew you were going to be just a smash hit. I love listening to you, and I'm so fond of you, and I think you're so cool.
Cheers.
And,
Hey, cheers. Here's
well,
to Melanee.
I can't toast an empty glass. It's
Right.
it's my thing, so you
Cheers.
gotta
Okay.
fill it.
All right, we're gonna refill Max's
But
glass.
I think you're great, and I actually
Likewise.
love that you wear undies underneath the pajama bottoms. That makes me very happy.
I have a weird thing where I don't
Salute.
like skin to touch skin.
Salute.
Salute.
Melanie, you were awesome. Thank you
Thank
for coming.
you.
Max,
It's
thank
so
you
much
for bringing
fun.
her in. Maybe we should do a part 2.
Hey,
we can
hey.
get to your
Have her
grandmother.
back.
We could do a follow up
Check in-
after you launch.
We can see how it's going. You can give
We'll
us
just invite her
pointers.
to be the third host of the
It's
show.
very, very possible.
I could come and do the Facebook.
Get a
I
fourth
could
mic.
I could administer the Facebook Live broadcast.
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'd be
Wow.
happy to do it.
That's great.
All right.
This was great.
Salute. Thanks,
Salute.
guys.
Woo. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next time.